Hello, welcome to Shawl Saturday. This is episode 7. My name's Maddie Harvey. I'm a knitwear designer and knitting teacher based in Edinburgh. It's a lovely sunny day here today. In fact, the weather's been really lovely for the past kind of almost a week actually, so I'm kind of in my summer gear. But I'm also recording this in a different location from usual. So the light is a bit brighter, but I also think that's fading out the colours a wee bit on the screen. So we'll see how I go for this episode, but I might not make this a regular feature. So my name's Maddie Harvey. You can find me on Instagram as Harvey Knits, and I'm on Twitter and Facebook, and I'm on Ravelry as Maddie Harvey. We've got 2 knit-alongs going on just now, one for the Wrong Way Amma sweater, which was released since the last episode, and another knit-along for the Shawl Saturday series patterns, of which there are quite a few finished ones for the spring pattern, which was Make Anew, and they're all looking lovely. And the summer one will be coming out at the beginning of June. I'm aiming for that first week in June. So I can't believe that's going to be coming up very shortly. So yeah, as I said, in the last episode, Amma hadn't been released yet. So that was released kind of mid-April, and thank you so much for all the support and all the love that you gave it. Or are giving it on Ravelry and on Instagram, and there's got a lot of people knitting one in the knit-along. So we're running a knit-along with the Tipsy Knits podcast, who are an audio podcast. Sia and Pip, they're based in Glasgow, so it's quite a nice sort of Central Scotland connection. And Pip was also one of my test knitters. So you can post, if you want to join in the knit-along, all you need to do is post either in my own thread, in my Ravelry group. So if you go to ravelry.com, if you click on the groups tab, which is up at the top, and then if you can do a search for Maddie Harvey Designs, and it should come up. And I will need to make a finished object thread, because there's a couple of people that have finished. So I'll do that, and then if you post in there, you'll be entered in the knit-along, and it's quite a long running knit-along, so there's not any pressure. It's going to run until the end of August, so that we can have a meet-up at the Perth Yarn Festival, which is, I'm just looking at my calendar, well, the 1st of September is a Sunday, so I think it's actually that first weekend after that. So I think, will that be the 7th and the 8th, or the 8th and the 9th? 7th and the 8th of September. We're going to have a meet up at Perth Yarn Festival. So that would be great. I know there's a lot of people planning one to knit it, maybe not starting now, but knitting it a wee bit later on. So that's going on. And I'll just show you in case you haven't seen Amma before. So it's a two colour, double knit jumper, knitted in the round from the top down. And it's quite oversized. So this is a medium, which fits me. So I've got a kind of 37, 38 inch bust. This is my sample that I made for me, and it's a medium. And I've tried to design the pattern so that the sleeves, although it's a raglan shaping, the sleeves are not too deep for each of the sizes, because I think that can be a problem with oversized sweaters that use a raglan construction, which is these lines here where the increases are. And it has this string of pearls stitch, which is really pretty simple to do. I've actually made a video tutorial on my YouTube channel. You should be able to find it if you look, of how to do it. So it's just a little increase on one round and then a decrease on the next round. And just by where you slip stitches and you carry the strand, you get a little line going across the wee bumps. So I think it's actually called a nup, that kind of little stitch. So it's a little bit like a bobble, but with a bobble you would increase and decrease, and that would all be in one row. But with a nup, you do an increase of one row, and then on the next row, or maybe even a later row, you decrease back down again. So it looks very effective, but actually it's pretty simple to do. And then there's a bit of colour block at the bottom. The hem is slightly rolled, but there's a bit of rib to stop it rolling too far. And the same on the cuffs. And then the top has an I-cord. But if you weren't keen on doing the I-cord, you could actually just pick up and do the same, this at the top. Just be careful not to add too much depth, because it is fairly high. I mean, that sits about here on me, just at the top of my collarbone. So if you did too much, it might make it too high. So I quite like the clean line of the I-cord, and it doesn't roll. So, but if you weren't keen on that, you could do the same as here on the top. The stitches are just picked up and worked. So yeah, so it's 8 sizes. So an extra small, which is like a UK dress size 6 or 8, up to a 4X. Extra large, but depending on how much ease you want to have, you could make a size up or a size down. I have also made myself, although now it's too warm to wear it, but I have worn it when I was camping the other weekend, a cardigan version. So this is done in Aran weight yarn. Actually, I could probably put it on. I can bear it for a few minutes just to show you. So because it's Aran weight, the gauge is a bit bigger, so it's about 18 stitches to 10 centimetres. So I made the extra small, and this is West Yorkshire Spinners Jacob's Aran weight, which is really nice. It's very, very sheepy. It's got a really strong sheepy smell. And then the orange is Hawkshead Sheep Aran weight. I can't remember the colour name, but I bought it when I was at the St Abbs Yarn Festival over beginning of April, middle of April. And of course, because it's Aran weight, it knitted up pretty quickly. And because I was knitting an extra small, it seemed much quicker than knitting the medium on the double knit. So it's the same oversized, and it's quite boxy. So it's quite boxy, and actually I'm going to change this button band because I did like the idea of this asymmetric thing with the buttons, but now I think I'm going to put the buttons in the middle because it looks fine at the bottom, but when you get to the top up here, I'm just not sure about it. I might go back and redo it. So I might write this up as a pattern, probably for the autumn, in the Aran weight. I was really needing a cardigan, so I just decided to cast it on and just wing it a little bit. Instead of doing the short rows in the pattern for the sweater, which are just in the back, I did them in the back of the ribbing. Can you see that? So it makes the ribbing at the back is taller than at the front, which I really like. It's made a nice effect. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. And I've also actually, last night, I cast on, I've been eyeing up lots and lots of summer tops and summer jumpers, because I have a couple. But and in here, in Edinburgh, although it's warmer, we do still have quite cold days through the summer, so even days where you would need to wear a proper woolly jumper, or sometimes even if it's a really nice sunny day, it will still be pretty cool in the morning and in the evening, so you do still need some kind of jumper. So I really like, I've knitted a couple of summer things in this Holsgarn Coast. So it's 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton, and it's quite thin. I mean, it's pretty much a lace weight, You can see that at 350 meters per 50 grams. But if you hold it double, you can get a kind of double knit sport weight gauge. And if you're doing it for something summery, you want quite a loosish gauge anyway. So I'm holding that double for the background. And that colour is called Ivanhoe, which is a sort of teal. That's not quite how it is in real life on the screen there. But I'm using for the pearls, I decided to try, I've got this skein of, this is Wool Kitchen, and it's coming out very, very shiny. I'm not sure you're really seeing that properly. Oh, there, maybe that's a bit better. Here, there you can see. It's the same colour as this. So this is the Wool Kitchen's double knit Blue Face Leicester. So this one is, I think, Grey Matter, and this one is Moon Hopping. And yeah, so this is Moon Hopping, but it's on the silk, 50% silk, 50% merino, I think. Which I thought, and it's 4-ply, but I thought if it's just for the string of pearls, it will probably be fine. But actually, I think it's a bit too thin. I think it's just not quite right. So what I'm going to do, I think, is use what I've got left of this for the pearls, because it's just, I mean, it is wool, but it's only those little bits. So it's not going to make a big difference to the kind of warmth of the garment. And then for when it comes to the colour blocking, I think what I might do is hold the Wool Kitchen with some more Holsgarn Coast in this. This is putty, so it's just quite a neutral colourway. And I think if I hold those two together, that'll be more like a double knit weight. And I think you'll still see the pops of colour in the Moon Hopping. You won't lose that because the Coast yarn is just quite neutral. So I think that's what I'm going to do, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really sure about that colour either. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because I've knitted a lot of things in neutral shades recently, like this and this, and my Corra Linn pullover, which I'll tell you about in a minute, and my I'm knitting something else for Knit Now for September, which is also in grey. So I think I'm just feeling a bit like this colour is just a bit, full on colour, but I think it's just because I've not knitted with a lot of bright colours, or coloured yarn really for a wee while. And but I used to knit a lot of bright stuff, and I seem to have gone really quite into neutrals. So maybe this will grow on me, but although I don't want to knit too far and then decide it's not right, because that's a lot of time put in to then decide, oh, I'm going to rip it out. So that's Amma. I finished this and I was a bit like, I don't think I'm going to knit any more Ammas. And then I was just like, all these summer tops. I want a summer top. Oh, I might as well just knit one in my own pattern. So that's what I thought. And then it's always a big thing of what yarns will I pick. So watch this space basically for that one. No doubt I'll probably change my mind all over again. I'm going to take this off actually because it's a wee bit warm now. But this one that I've got on is I can't remember the name, but it was in Pom Pom quite a few years ago, and it's knitted that this neutrally colour is actually that Holsgarn Coast putty held double, and the coral pink is by Posh Yarn, and they only do kind of like one-off colourways. So I used to use their yarn a lot, but now when I'm doing more designing, it's a bit more difficult because people often want to use the colours that are in the sample, and if they're one-off colourways, that doesn't really always work that well. So I'd love it if you joined in with Amma. Go over to Ravelry, as I said before, and have a wee look. There's quite a lot of projects now, so it's nice to see different yarn combinations and the fit on different body shapes. Okay, now I mentioned Corra Linn, but what I am going to do is just grab my whip of Corra Linn and show you it, because I made a bit of a mistake, so I just need to reach over. Okay, so this was my first front cover of Knit Now. So this is issue 100, is it 102, 101? I'm not sure. Oh, 101. Now 102 has come out. So I don't think you'll be able to get this one in the shops anymore, but you'll probably be able to get it from the website, which I think is just knitnowmagazine.com or something. You could do an online search. So there you go. It's knitted in Rowan Moordale, which is I think BFL and alpaca. Oh, my cats are having a bit of a fight. Oh, yeah. Our cat, you've maybe seen pictures of him on Instagram. He's a tuxedo black and white cat, and he's called Marty. And there's another cat locally who looks like him, but he's absolutely enormous. So we call him Big Marty, and he's a bit of a bully. And he's just chased my two cats in the house. I can see him up on the fence. He's just a big brute. And the kitten's come in with a big fluffed up tail. Max, are you okay? Big Marty's obviously the boss around here, and then we've got the kitten, and our Marty is quite wee, so he doesn't, and he's not really interested in fighting. He just runs away, which is a good thing, I guess. Anyway, sorry, I was a bit distracted. What was I saying? Yes, so Rowan Moordale, and it is inspired by New Lanark, which is I think it's a UNESCO heritage site actually, in central Scotland, where in the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century, they were quite revolutionary kinds of workers' rights, and Robert Owen, who ran it, was very into education and holidays and good working conditions, good sort of reasonable pay, and all that kind of thing for the cotton mills. And so it's inspired by the architecture and the setting there. It's really beautiful countryside. It's on the banks of the Clyde River, and Corra Linn is the name of one of the waterfalls. But it's a little bit further up the Clyde from New Lanark, but you can walk from there. There's kind of woodland walks. So that's Corra Linn, and it's a top-down yoked jumper. Slightly oversized, not as much as Amma, but it is oversized. I'll show you the pictures. There you go. The sleeves are not very long on the models, but I guess because models are usually tall, they probably have long arms. So when you knit it, it will be, if you knit it, it will be, you can make the sleeves longer. I'm trying not to show you the pattern. Sorry, it's getting totally blown out by the light. There you go, you can see the sleeves. So it's just done, it's just travelling stitch. There's little cables, and then some horizontal braids, and then in the body it's just slip stitches, the stocking stitch ridge, going down the body, and there's some eyelets which you could miss out if you didn't want them in. Yeah, so I was really thrilled to get, that's my first front cover, and I was really chuffed. And Rowan they reposted it on Facebook, I think it was. That was really nice. So you can probably get that issue online, and I'll release it. I get the rights back after 4 months, so I'll probably release it. And then because that sample is with Knit Now, and it's a size small, it doesn't fit me. So, well, it fits me, but it's not how the fit should be, you know what I mean? Because it's oversized. So I cast on my own one, and I decided I would do it in the new Lanark yarn. But I kind of had done it I had stopped and started with it. I cast it on quite a wee while ago, and I took it away with me when we were away over Easter and got quite a bit done, and then I had it away with me the other weekend, and for some reason I picked up the wrong size needles, so it's supposed to be on a 4 and I had a 3.75, and I'm nearly finished the yoke. Here. So actually, yeah, I am just about ready to split for the sleeves, but then I realised I think the gauge is probably off, because look, it's not really, well, it's sort of coming to my underarms, but I don't think it's going to be right. So I probably will block this and see what it does, and then make a decision about whether to rip it back. But I was kind of a bit annoyed, so I just sort of put it in timeout. But I would really like to finish it, although maybe the weather will be too warm to wear it now, I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll see. I'll probably post about it on Instagram. But the slip stitches make these sort of triangle shapes and diamonds and kind of hexagons, irregular hexagons, I guess. Yeah. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that. I'll let you know. Okay, so this episode's featured shawl is Hover, because I'm feeling like summer knitting, is on the go. And if you want to wear something summery this summer, I think you need to be starting it, don't you? Or maybe even have already started it. So this is Hover, which is a shawl knitted. It's designed for mini skeins. And this version is done in linen, so it's a good for summer. Oh, what's going on there, cats? It's mini skeins and it's linen, which is great for summer. So the ones that I used for the pattern are the ones from Midwinter Yarns. So this pack was a pack of 16. So I used 8 for my Hover, and I've got 8 left. So I bought, no, it must be 2 years ago. So it might be that they do different sized kits now, I'm not sure. So I pulled out the kind of blues and greens and neutrals to do this. So each one of these is a 4-ply yarn, so each one is 50 meters. So it's 400 meters, so it's like a 4-ply, 400 meters to 100 grams 4-ply yarn. But because it's linen, it does behave a bit differently, so it kind of blocks out a bit more, I think, and holds the block more. So the idea of this one is that it starts off like a, like an asymmetric triangle where you start in a corner and you increase at one edge and you decrease at the other edge, and it makes a kind of almost like a swirled type asymmetric triangle. Well, that's what Hover does, but if you get to the middle, So you increase. So let's say you start here, increase all the way along, increase, increase, increase. And then when you get to the middle, which is here, you then start decreasing. So you do the opposite. So what I might do is put a photo in here so you can see the shape, because it's a wee bit hard to show you here. But basically it looks like a bird kind of hovering with two wings, and it has quite a deep V in the middle. There. And this one has got tassels, which there's a tutorial for the tassels. And so then in between the mini skeins, there is a little transition. So there's a little slip stitch section here and a yarn over section. So the idea was to have instead of just a clean break between the different colours, to have a bit of a transition section. And I was looking through my bag of swatches to see what swatches I had for this, but I didn't really have very many because I knitted a one in wool mini skein set of merino, and I couldn't find that just now, but I think that was like a big swatch. But I did find this little scrappy thing. So you can see there the pink and the blue. There's a little slip stitch section here, and then eyelets. It's easier to see it there, yeah. Yeah, so that was me trying it out, I think. That's the only wee swatch that I had. Yeah, and then in the middle, the eyelets become the kind of changeover point. So you can do this, this pattern, you can do, oh no, I should also say this garter stitch. So it's quite a kind of mindless knit, you know, you're just knitting along, increasing or decreasing at the edges, and then when you come to changing over, then you have something where you need to concentrate a wee bit more, but the rest of it is just garter stitch. So it would make quite a nice holiday project if you were going away somewhere, because it would be quite easy to do it in company. You wouldn't have to think too much about the garter stitch sections. So the pattern includes either to do a five skein, you know, like a standard kind of mini skein set. Usually it has 5 minis of 20 grams each. So there's instructions for doing that, and there's instructions for doing 8, which is the linen version here. But I've also added in this Gone Wild version. Okay, this pattern is a bit punny. It's a bit like, you know, Zastruga with the snowstorm. That one is a bit punny. So this one is because of the sort of hover idea. So when you're increasing, that section's called soaring up. And then when you're in the middle section, where there's where you're changing over and there's a little bit where you're not increasing, that's called hovering. So like the hovering point. And then the bit where you're decreasing is called sweeping down, and that's quite that when you get onto that bit, it's nice because the stitch count is decreasing, which is always a good thing if you ask me. And so this version is a bit like the off-piste version of Zastruga, so it gives you some instructions for how to adapt it to different sized mini skeins. So there's a bit of kind of, you have to count, the stitch count has to be a certain number, and you also need to make sure that you weigh your yarn so that you've got enough to do the transition. So it is adaptable if you've got a different size set of mini skeins. Or the other thing you could do, it would look really nice in a fade. You know, I've got some cotton fades in my stash. So you could just knit it, and when you get to that certain stitch count, you could just do a bit of the transition section. Yeah, that one's a bit more subtle. It just depends on the jump between the colours. Yeah, that I really love those 3 colours especially together. So yeah, it would look really good in a fade. And then you just put the tassels on afterwards. So you make a twisted cord and do the tassel. And there's a video tutorial to explain how to do the tassels. And then I'll put it on just to show you. It is quite long at the front. But you sometimes in the summer you just want something around your neck, or if you go to the beach, often in the UK it can be glorious sunshine, but actually when you're at the coast it's windy, or there's a kind of har, a low cloud, misty cloud that makes it cold, so you do sometimes need an extra thing in the summer. So as usual, Hover will be on sale in my Ravelry store for the next week. If you use the code, now I've written it down somewhere. So MHD from Maddie Harvey Designs _hover _15, and it's all capital letters. You'll get 15% off the pattern for the next week, and you will you just put it in your cart, and then there's a wee box that says coupon code. You put it in there, it will come off. And if you're knitting one, tag me on Instagram, because I really like seeing what people make with my patterns. So you can either just do @HarveyKnits, or you could use the hashtag Maddie Harvey Designs, and that would be great. Okay, so I mentioned Shawl Saturday series at the beginning of the podcast, but I just wanted to let you know that I have organised a little Shawl Saturday meetup, which will be the 25th of May in Edinburgh, and I've called it Shawl Saturday Meetup, but actually just because it's on a Saturday, but it's for anybody who's a knitter who wants to come along. So it's going to be at Aqua Bar, which is on Phantom Bridge, quite near to Tollcross, which is fairly central. They have got good accessibility for wheelchair users, and they've got, you know, quite a varied menu. You could have tea and coffee type, you know, soft drinks, or you can have a drink from the bar. It's really flexible, and a lot of knitters around here know it because Edinburgh Yarn Festival have used it for events. So that's what I've gone with. I've booked a table, so if you are thinking of coming, let me know, because I just want to make sure that I've got the right sized table. I've, you know, booked a table for so many people, and double the number of people come. I'm sure a couple of extra wouldn't matter, but I don't think they'd be too happy if it was double the number. So just let me know if you're planning to come along. It would be lovely to see you. Bring your knitting and just have a knit and a chat for a couple of hours. So it's 2:30 in the afternoon till 4:30. We've just got the table for 2 hours, so that's fine. And yeah, it should be good. I was thinking about bringing a sneaky peek of the next Shawl Saturday series design with me. I haven't quite decided whether to do that or not, but yeah, it might be. But that's coming at the beginning of June. Yes, so thank you very much for watching, and as I said before, if you're knitting any of my things, please tag me on Instagram or post in the Ravelry group. It would be lovely to see. And I will see you next time. Oh, and I have to remember to say, please like the video underneath if you've enjoyed watching, and also think about subscribing to the YouTube channel. That would be great. Okay, have a good weekend. Bye.